Hello again everyone, welcome back to the channel and to something brand new. Full transparency here, I have been trying to think of a way of keeping my channel relevant in the middle of the week between my Saturday uploads, and YouTube Shorts just aren't cutting it. So I had a brainwave this morning. Why not cover archaeological news from the last week, or the last month? I haven't really decided which yet. But today, I thought I would give you the rundown on 3 recent archaeological stories. So join me for my new Rob's Archaeological News segment. This week, 3 discoveries, 1 Roman, 1 late Roman and 1 Iron Age, have revealed power, belief and warfare in Britain across several centuries. And here are the 3 most significant finds over the last few days. And we start in South Wales, at a villa that has been found in a Welsh park. Archaeologists in South Wales have identified the largest Roman villa ever found in Wales, hidden beneath Margam Country Park near Port Talbot. The discovery was made using ground-penetrating radar, and the clarity of the scans has immediately revealed a substantial, well-preserved site. The site lies within a historic deer park that has never been ploughed or built upon. And what that means is that the remains, that are less than a metre below the surface, have appeared to be in exceptional condition. The villa measures around 572 square metres and is about 43 metres in length. It follows a corridor villa plan with 2 wings and a front veranda, and at least 14 rooms arranged around the corridors. It sits within a defensive enclosure, and nearby is a square, aisled building of about 354 square metres, likely a barn or a meeting hall. This was a high-status residence, probably the home of a local elite figure, and the centre of a large agricultural estate. Its significance lies in what it can tell us about Roman Wales. Most Roman remains in the region are military, and villas on this scale are rare. According to project lead Dr. Alex Langlands, this forces archaeologists to rethink South Wales not as a marginal frontier, but as a region with elite estates comparable to those in southern England. The villa's exact location is being kept a secret for now, whilst conservation and further survey work can take priority. Langlands has described it as Port Talbot's Pompeii, but obviously not because of any volcano putting any ash over it, but because of its long-term protection that has preserved an unusually complete archaeological site. Our next story concerns the discovery of a bone box. In Broadway, Worcestershire, archaeologists have uncovered an extraordinary late Roman bone box found buried in the grave of a young woman. The excavation revealed 8,000 years of human activity, but this object stood out. The box is carefully carved, decorated with circular motifs, and fitted with a sliding lid. It was deliberately put in the grave, suggesting a personal or symbolic significance. Bone is a difficult material to work with, and its use implies the object mattered. What it contained or what it meant remains unknown, but the find offers a rare glimpse into belief, identity and burial practice at the end of Roman Britain. Finally, we have a discovery from possibly before the Romans conquered Britain. Near Thetford in Norfolk, archaeologists have uncovered a hoard containing 2 of the rarest Iron Age objects ever found in Britain. The most complete Carnyx, or war trumpet, ever discovered in Europe, and also the first boar's head flag standard found in Britain. Carnyxes were Celtic war trumpets, played upright to intimidate enemies and inspire warriors. They were used by tribes, such as the Iceni of Boudiccan fame, and they fascinated the Romans, who often depicted them as war trophies. Only 3 Carnyxes have ever been found in Britain, and this example is particularly unique, with the pipe, mouthpiece and bell all still intact, despite being made from extremely thin sheets of metal. The boar's head standard, made from sheet bronze, is even rarer. It would have been held aloft in battle as a rallying point, the boar symbolising strength and ferocity. The hoard dates between 50 BC and 50 AD, a period of intense change as Rome began its expansion into Britain. Researchers believe its study will reshape how we understand sound, music and warfare in the Iron Age. Alright, I forgot. I actually meant to say 4 things, not 3, so here's a bonus one for you. On the banks of the River Wear, near Sunderland, archaeologists have uncovered what appears to be the largest Roman whetstone factory in Britain, a site that has been hidden in plain sight for centuries. The industrial hub was initially found by a woman called Alison Tim, who called the stones Mars bar stones, because she had absolutely no idea what they were. Excavations have so far revealed 800 whetstones, with the team believing that thousands more could still be buried along the riverbank. Sediment analysis suggests that the factory was in use between 104 and 238 AD, making it a significant Roman industrial site. According to excavation lead Gary Bankhead, this may be the largest collection of whetstones ever found in northwest Europe. The site has also yielded objects from later periods, including a Tudor leather shoe, Civil War ammunition, and jetties from various eras, showing that the River Wear has been a focus of human activity for centuries. From Iron Age warfare to Roman power to personal objects found in graves, these discoveries show just how much of Britain's history still remains hidden, and how quickly our understanding can change. But thank you very much for joining me on this experimental video of mine. If you've enjoyed it, then I might do it again in the future, who knows? But for now, I hope you'll join me on Saturday for my next main video, as it were. And please remember to like, comment and subscribe, it helps immensely, and I'll see you on the next one. Ciao for now.